We got hards on. We're going to the end.
We're back for the Mexico Grand Prix, and I am, yeah, I would say I'm completely over the moon with how that race went. It could have been a little bit better, but ultimately, I think the things that didn't go my way in terms of who I back and who I need to do well, I think that's pretty well known. It's not really well known, but Lando Norris. I think ultimately the things that didn't go my way for that is fine because the things that went wrong basically made the race better. And ultimately, I'm a fan of entertainment. I'm a fan of the sport, and as of pretty recently, I suppose. And this race, I mean, Mexico goes good. I don't really remember many prior Mexico Grand Prix. I just remember Lando had a good race from the back to the front. I remember Daniel had a good race there. It's the kind of track where you can live off of that performance for a while. It's the kind of track you'll put in a performance there and you can live off it. Because I remember Daniel was eating off that Mexico result for a while, for why he should get a Red Bull seat. Lando, it's like, oh, I remember Lando's drive when he came from the back and did all those overtakes. And I actually think that the reason why that Lando overtakes was so good was because the race was largely boring outside of that. So maybe Mexico isn't always great. But it was fantastic today, I have to say. Let's all stand up and give a round of applause for Mexico and what they've put on, because I was thoroughly entertained. Getting home from work, popping it on, putting the toes up, putting up the trotters, putting on a bit of Mexico Grand Prix. It was great. It had all the bells and whistles. There was a safety car. There was back and forth. There's penalties. I mean, there's so much shit to talk about that I'm wasting time talking about how there's so much to talk about. I just need to talk about it. But before we do that, we got to rate my quality, because we do this in three sectors. We got to rate my quality. We got the race rundown, and then we got the soft, medium, and hard awards. Hard awards. I just remixed myself there. I don't know why. I'm actually going to take a moment, because I listened back to last episode and I speak way too fast and I mispronounce so many words and just forget letters in them, and I might be hard to understand, so I'm going to try and not speak as fast. It's just that I'm kind of conscious about how long shit takes to export, so I'm just like, I don't want it to, you don't care. Anyway, Piastri was out in Q1. Finally, an actual shock, because otherwise the shock, this is an audio based medium, so when I do the sort of finger the air quote things, you can't see it, so I'm doing them. For shock, what we would have been Sergio Perez going out in Q1, which, like I sort of ranted about, I was about to say ranted and raved, but that would assume I was happy about it. What I ranted about but 7 days ago was the fact that Sergio Perez going out early in Q1 or Q2 or just having a shit performance is not a shock anymore. It is my normal life that I'm used to. It is my reality, man. It's every week. A shock is genuinely Sergio qualifying higher than P6. That is a shock. That is what should be normal, as he's in a Red Bull, aka what most people would describe as a rocket ship for most of the time. And he's stinking up the gaff in Q1. And because although Piastri had a stinker, he kind of did what Perez did last week, and he gets his lap time deleted, right? And although he has a stinker and he goes out in Q1 when his teammate is P3, I believe, he still finds a way to at least qualify above Perez. At least he was above Perez, so you got that saving grace. Perez in P18, man. And there's going to be a lot of Perez slander. Obviously, none of it's personal. I don't know why, but I just feel like it. I just feel like that should be said, because I'm going to call Perez a bitch probably multiple times during this. And, but it's not personal. I'm sure he's a great guy. But in terms of the sport and the rivalry, in which I now love, you're a bitch, Perez. And we'll get to that later, though. Lawson was in P12, so if you care about this new Lawson versus elderly abuse against sort of, well, it is really elderly. I don't know how old Perez is now, but he's really going for the old folk, because he locked up Alonso last week, not locked up his car, but just sort of locked him up in a facility. And then now he's going for Perez, packed him in as well. It's just, Lawson's got a thing against the olds. He's got, and I honestly, I'm kind of here for it. So if you care about that little back and forth, he qualified above Alonso. And if you care about my Alonso agenda, which is that according to me, Alonso is very slowly falling off, maybe. And not because he's actually doing anything bad, he's still very regularly out-qualifies Stroll and finishes above Stroll. My, like, basis that I'm basing this off is just the fact that that gap, which used to be huge and embarrassing, is now pretty close. And I feel like Stroll is a benchmarker. If you're not destroying him, you're kind of mid. Like, you want to be destroying him if you want to be, like, rated in any way. And, like, this race, I think that, again, they finished, like, right next to each other. So, for my little thing we're keeping an eye on there, Alonso versus Stroll, just to monitor if Alonso is, like, pushing 50 at this point, so he needs to fall off at some point. You can't, what's the opposite of falling? You can't stand forever. I got a serious question, actually, here, which I wrote down, which, you know, I don't know if I believe in the juju, you know? And I don't think if it is right, I don't know if they have it down under. But genuinely, did Daniel Ricciardo like curse Yuki on the way out? Because since you've been gone, Yuki has been like crashing and spinning and crashing again and like spinning again and then crashing again in qualifying and in practices and races and maybe on just the road on the way. I don't know, but it's been happening a lot. And I don't know if he's just, like, there's no reason why Daniel leaving, is he just really scared of like, Lawson's potential? Did he just never really rate Daniel? I don't know, like, I don't know what could have possibly gotten in his head to affect his performances, but something's happened to Yuki, and, like, the reason it feels like a curse, I'm genuinely debating this right now, but it's like, that race start, he didn't really do anything wrong. It's just like a racing incident kind of thing that happens, right? He was just like driving straight. Everyone's driving straight, but then you run out of road and then you're in the wall. So it's like, it's not even like he's spinning and he's like, well, there is examples where he has just done stuff on his own. But like, I don't know, it just feels like this bad luck is just hitting him hard out of nowhere now. And I will be shocked if we are not seeing Lawson in that Red Bull seat at some point, because Yuki, it's just crazy that Yuki is like, oh, he's finally got comfortable. He's like really comfortable in that team. He's a lead driver. And now everything's just kind of like going against him all of a sudden. I don't think he was ever going to get that seat anyway. He'd have to be winning races in that V-carb. And, you know, that was never going to happen. He would have to fly it to the moon. Sainz on pole. By the way, Sainz on pole. P2 last week. P1 this week. It's kind of crazy. Kind of similarly to Perez, like when he was going out of that pink car. What were they called at the time? Damn, I do not remember. I just remember they used to call it the pink Mercedes. I don't remember what the team was called at the time. It wasn't Racing Point, was it? What were they? I don't know. But when Perez was leaving the sport, apparently he was going to lose his seat, and he won that race in like his final race or something, and everyone was going, "Oh, this guy losing a seat, and look how good he is." It's like, you could argue, like, Sainz does not want to follow that same trajectory of what happened after that. But just the sense that, like, you know, Sainz wins this race, and then, who was it? Brundle? Is that his name? Is on the radio going, and he'll be in a Williams next year, so, you know. Duking it out with Alex Albon for P9, probably. Doing the strategy where you just stay out on your tyres for as long as possible and just hope something happens. Because that's basically Williams' whole play. They act like they're these huge strategies. Their whole strategy is usually just stay out as long as possible. But yeah, he was on pole. Verstappen P2, Norris P3, which was kind of weird because Norris was kind of, at least for the qualifying, he was doing the fastest times, but then you got to Q3 and it was kind of like, oh, this is a bit more tricky, or he just didn't put it together in the same way. And Norris better when not on pole, methinks. Genuine question. Like, when you ain't got that stress, that worry about who am I defending, what's going on here, you kind of just go for it. Because, like, okay, sure, he didn't overtake anyone from pole. Like, he didn't, like, slide up the inside like people did to him. But when he's on pole, he usually falls back to P2, P3 anyway. So, and it's like, you get to at least be in P2, P3 going into turn 1, turn 2, and not feel like shit, at least. Because in his other scenarios, he's in the same position anyway, but he feels like shit because he feels like he lost something. Now it's just like, oh, well, at least I'm still in it. And very good race today. Very good race today. We'll get into the debate on whether that's the case or not later when we get into the soft, medium, hard awards. But for now, very good race anyway. That's all of the bullshit out of the way, and we can talk about the race because, my oh my, there's stuff to talk about. And I just love it. Can we, and again, let's all practice gratitude for a minute, right? Let's all practice being grateful. That's the same thing. Let's all, what's the other word for being grateful? Let's all practice just like, I don't know vocabulary, but like, you know, just like think about what we thought this season was going to be, you know, like going into it. Think about last season, how shit that was, and then think about how we thought this season was going to be worse than that. The Red Bull's going to get even better. Look at their side, like all of these people on Twitter who actually know about cars or whatever. Look at the side pods and their ducks are upside down and everyone's the right side up and it's doing this and that and it's got like the grates and shit. And like, look at the season we've ended up having. Oh wow. And just by teasing me, oh my god, even thinking about it, just by teasing me, the next season could be, oh my god, could be even better. I'm just like, oh man, I love this game. This is what we live for. Anyone else? No, okay. Pretty sad though, I suppose that, but you know, it's what we live for, man. And it's great stuff. I'm happy for it. I'm happy to see it. Happy in general. Moving on from that, we can actually get into the race. My actual first thing I noted down to remember is just worded as, oh yeah, Yuki bend it, which is because I think I wrote that. It's my number one thing because it's like in chronological order, but I clearly forgot that that's how this race started because so much shit happened after that, and honestly more interesting shit. So Yuki binned it. Yuki put his car in the bin. Okay, moving on from that. Sergio Perez. I don't know if you've ever heard the song. I think it's a game as well you can play. Dumb Ways to Die. And it's just like a bunch of dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Sergio Perez is playing that game. Dumb, new, fun and creative ways to just fuck yourself. To just new, exciting ways to be shit. Just start halfway outside of the fucking starting grid. Like, you know when it's like, okay, let's see what Sergio's done here. Bear in mind I'm an idiot, I don't know what's going on. And you see him park like, that. I'm pretty sure, can't park there, mate. That's a double yellow. Like, I don't need to know what's going on. And you see the footage and you're like, oh, well, this looks kind of weird. This looks kind of like he's like, I don't know, just like not where he's meant to be starting. And then the gall, the fucking audacity, you know, when they're like, Perez, they're checking. Why? They think there's something wrong with your race start. Nope, my race start was great, he says. I overtook 5 cars. You know, it's like scoring a goal, putting it top bins, and they're like, it's offside, mate. You're about 20 meters offside. It wasn't even close. And you've been like, nope. Great goal. I top binsed it. Yeah, you were offside, Perez. There is no nope. That was a great start. It was, yeah, you started outside of the whole rules of this whole thing. Like, just insane. And also just like, I just wonder what the team think when like they're on that pit wall. Look, I just imagine it's a bunch of just looks back and forth as like Perez says stuff. When we get into the embarrassment of this final lap with Perez, like, man, we are going to get to it, don't you worry. I'm sure you're not worried about it, especially if you're Sergio. Starts well. Insane. Great move from Sainz on Verstappen, and I literally thought in that moment, I love you, Lando, but this is what I want to see. Direct, you just send it down the inside. Why can't you do that? Lando would never do that. And then, never mind, okay, like the next lap, Lando was doing that. And then you see the difference. Like, he sent it late, he went in, it's not like he hasn't got the quality. And at first I thought it's like he has the quality, but there's something within him where he doesn't want to send it because he's scared. But then it's not even that. It's that I'll send it. But you can see there was a whole different sort of leniency with Verstappen. Not that he was being lenient. Like, he was still giving up a lead when this was after the safety car where Sainz was going to overtake. But it's like, there's a real difference between I'm defending this hard to I am killing you. This is Lord of the Rings, not seen it, whatever the guy's called. I was about to say Gandalf. Gandhi was doing other shit. But you know, trying to reload. Where was we going with this? Yeah, you can just see like it's great. Like, and if Hamilton, for whatever reason, I'm sure he doesn't. He's a professional. He's racing against a bunch of people, right? But for whatever reason, if he ever felt like he took it personally at times, with like, you know, Verstappen putting a car on top of his head, you know, just shit like that. You know, so obviously he also put Verstappen in the hospital bed, so like, you know, it was tit for tat. But if he ever took it personally, like, damn, Verstappen drives me like crazy. Don't worry. He will drive anyone who is in like a championship fight with him, even though we don't really believe in the championship fight still, even after today, right? He's still in a championship. If he's in a championship fight with you, he will there is no rules. There's no rules. So that no rules can be broken because in his mind, there is no rules. It's just crazy what we're seeing. But I loved it. I love when drivers do something outrageous and the commentators like, whoa, here, like, I just love it. I love it when there's someone to look at in the cool down room and all the drivers are like, like Leclerc sees and he's like, fucking hell, mate. Like, I just love that shit. And it's like, Max, I'm not like a Max fan, but yeah, I love him a lot. Like, I just love his presence. I love he's in the sport because he provides, you gotta think sometimes there are necessary evils. And he's just like, and you can tell he's like he's not like a bad person, but like for the sport and in the racing and stuff, like he's just so good. Like the sound bites, the aggression, how he drives, and he's actually really good. Like, it's not a gimmick. Like, yeah, I fucks with it. And obviously I'm more feeling kind to it as well because at least, the guy I'm backing wasn't overly screwed by it either. So there's that. But yeah, he will drive you like crazy. But he does get past, and we'll get to the penalties in a second. Because first I just want to talk about something real quick. This isn't like a big talking point, but just, I think I mentioned this before. Carlos Sainz turns into... I like Sainz. I like him. I've liked him since... I've not been watching the sport that long. I'm not going to be like acting like I loved him since the Renault days or whatever. Renault, sorry. I pronounce it Renault because we had a Renault. We had a Renault car, and we've always said Renault, and then you watch the sport, and apparently it's Renault, French company, I know, humbled. Anyway, since he was at McLaren, I always liked him. I've always said Sainz is underrated, but one thing I will say, and I always said he's got a great mind. He's probably won so many points and extra podiums and race wins because of the mind. He's got a lot going on. He's thinking smart up there, right? With the weather, he's good and shit like that, the tactics. But what I will say about Sainz is he turns into a little fucking worm when he's in P1. Oh my god. Some of the stuff he comes out with when he's in P1. Like, and he knows that his teammates in P2. It's more specifically when he's in P1 and he knows his teammates in P2. That's when he loves to just start rattling shit off. Like, guys, tell Leclerc to chill, like, serious. He's like, tell Leclerc to chill. Like, serious. Like, what is he doing? Like, at this point, Leclerc is still, like, 6 seconds behind. But maybe he's noticed it went from 6 seconds to, like, 5.7. And he's like, okay, Leclerc, calm down. Okay, you're being irresponsible. Let's just do what's best for the team. Let's bring this home. Yeah, with me in P1. Stuff like, guys, like, later on in the race. Guys, I think we're going too fast. I think, yeah, Lando's actually going to be breathing down Leclerc's second. I think we're all just going too fast here. Let's all just slow it down because Leclerc's also catching me. It's like the guy, whenever he's in P1 and he knows his team is in P2, who he can kind of like control, like manipulate on the teams and stuff, he will get on the radio and he'll be like, let's slow the pace down, right? Come on. What are we trying to do here? And it's like race signs. We're trying to race. We're trying to, Leclerc's just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm in service to my teammate here. No, he won last weekend. He's thinking I'm gonna go 2 for 2, and he almost ended up, eating shit because of that. Final few laps there. But we'll get to it. Don't worry, we'll get to it all. It's a great move. The chaos ensues between Max and Lando. It's sort of they're going wheel to wheel. I mean, to me, and I haven't rewatched it, so I can't say for sure. But it's similar to like the Texas thing though. Like I feel like Lando did have the apex, but then Max just like he'll let you have the apex, but then just sort of I do it in the game all the time. I'm literally a little virtual Max Verstappen. You just put the car in the way. Like it's not like I'm the last to late breakers. It's just I will just brake a split second after I see the car next to me brake, and then I know they're just stuck behind me because of physics and they cannot drive through atoms or whatever, right? And then they're wide and you're through, and it's just like that's what he did. And then the second move, that was desperate. That was Magnussen's shit. But I love it still. It was all great. Lawson, I want to actually give a shout out to you real quick before we carry on with that. You little dancer, mate. Dancing around Perez, and I get it. Lawson's he's from the school of racing hard, but then again, I've just been praising Verstappen, so here's why I like it. And Sergio didn't like that. It gets a bit of damage, but you know what? He's not impossible to get past. Multiple people overtook Lawson in this race, and yeah, it was a bit hard. It was a bit scrappy. He came off with some bruises himself, as we'll also get into. But other people were fine, Sergio. And you know what? I'm also less lenient to giving you some benefit of the doubt. The fact that you came off in a 50-50 with Lawson, maybe worse off because of how not good you've been. You know? So when there's like a thing like this, yeah, maybe I'm not going to give you sort of the benefit of the doubt in that situation. Sorry, mate. But yeah, I just love Lawson. I love everything about him. I love everything about him. And someone under my short, I did a short talking about how the Daniel fans need to like start backing Lawson and not like being against him because it makes Daniel look better. And people were like, well, one guy, I'll be honest, was like, no, Daniel for life. And it's like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying ever drop Daniel out of your mind and your heart. But what I'm saying is, you got to have someone you're still backing in the sport, and the guy you're backing is gone. It's not like football where your team is just there for life, you know. If your thing goes, yeah, it's going to feel like, nah, there'll never be anyone again, you know. Your wife leaves you, she cheated, she took the kids, you think you'll never be in love again. But, you know, that there's plenty of fish in the sea, you know, you'll have your midlife crisis. You know, you'll be with okay, maybe Lawson's a midlife crisis because you'll be with the younger girl. It's not a good look. You've got a dad bod. It's the Leonardo DiCaprio vibes. But, you know, you'll settle down and you'll find your person. Whoever it is, you got to find your person basically eventually in the sport. The sport is so much more fun when you're invested and you're backing someone, you're getting rattled online by people you don't even know. You're probably 13. But yeah, Lawson, you're a little dancer, mate. All the 20-second time penalties, we've got to get into that now. Were they deserved? I don't know the rules. I mean, Brundle was saying there was, so probably. And everyone else was too. Apart from Red Bull, who like get on the radio to Max and, you know, they do their little bullshit. Like, Max, you got 20-second penalties. And Max is like, what? And they're like, we know. A lot of whinging, Max. A lot of whinging. Yet, I'm sure they whinged probably just as much, if not more, last weekend, and it didn't do fuck all. So I doubt it was the whinging that got it done. But hey, I get it. You got to sell that cope if you're a team boss. He's not going to exactly be like, yeah, you deserve the max now. Fuck off. Like, that's not what you're going to do. What else do we have to talk about? Anything else? I mean, Russell Hamilton was good. Russell's radios have got a lot shorter recently. It's a lot more just like one word onomatopoeias. Just, I mean, last week, I don't know what, this is not even funny. It's just stupid. But like, what was it? I think he got a time penalty or something. Or something, yeah, I think he got a time penalty or something. And it was for something stupid. And like, his reaction, like, he used to be a lot more like, oh, bloody hell, honey, see you next Tuesday, sugar honey iced tea, bloody hell, oh, I can't even think of words. And now he's just, yeah, he's all just like, he's very short on the radio. It's, you know, it's what? He's doing a lot of that. He's doing a lot of that as reactions, a lot of what? You know, when you're seeing people get reactions. Verstappen's got a 20-second time penalty. Wow. You know, he's really shortened it down. And I think that's came through some sort of comfort within himself and the team. And the fact that I'm doing alright this season. I'm doing pretty good. I'm out qualifying my teammate. I'm below in the points, but, you know, I'm going to be the head honcho next season. Kimmy's going to be my P2. That's what he feels anyway. Kimmy's going to be my number 2, you know. I'm the guy at Mercedes. We're doing okay. I think he's just kind of mellowed out. Because when he's stressed, you can hear it in his voice. It breaks. Max wasn't even that mad when he got those penalties as well. Jumping back to Max, like he kind like it was kind of like performative mad from the team and him. They're like, yeah, like they were kind of like they're putting on the front like that was bullshit. Max, we all know it was just trying to like, and Max was like, oh, what's no 20 seconds? That's harsh. Okay, like he didn't seem pissed off. Like, if Max is pissed, I feel like man. But yeah, and from then on, like, the race kind of just goes on. Like, Piastri for this next stage is kind of working his way through the pack. You got Lawson doing a similar thing. You got Perez probably just sitting at the back being Perez. You've got what else was happening at this point? You got Verstappen now, he's done his 20 seconds and he's slowly working his way through. And you've got, during this period, it's kind of sort of we're stalling for a bit as we get to the final laps. We're building back up, we're recharging. Lando is kind of, again, trying to not work his way through, but, you know, catch up with the Ferraris. Everyone's pitted now at this point and everything is back to normal order. Everyone's got their penalties, everyone's got their pits. We all know where we stand. Go race, you know, and we move on from there. And Lando, basically, you're kind of watching it like, the time's not really moving, like he's not catching, it's not going to happen, and then it starts to happen. As usual with McLaren, it's like, and then you get towards more of the end of the stint, and it's like, oh, it's happening now, shit, guys, it's happening type thing, and starts to roll in, not at a rate of knots, but I don't know who was. I genuinely don't know which car was faster, because apparently the Ferraris were faster in practices, which I don't watch, and then in qualifying, McLaren, or at least Lando, was quicker in Q1 and Q2, but then I guess he didn't put it together, or the temperature got better for Ferraris, because I remember Karun said something about that, and then the Ferraris were quicker, and then in this race, it's hard to know. I think they were just basically very even. But at least towards the end of that stint, it seemed like Lando was the quickest car. Because if no one pitted for those fastest laps, he was setting fastest laps still on those older tyres. So, and he was catching everyone with another maybe like 10 laps. Because he didn't catch Leclerc at a particularly quick speed. But maybe like another 10 laps, he would have got signs. But he was still like 4 seconds behind by the end of the race. So it wasn't even that close. But yeah, he's reeling in Leclerc. And then all of a sudden, it starts happening really quick. And he's in the DRS zone. That took me long. And just when because I didn't see any real Lando overtakes this race, like just getting them done. You're about to see one. It's going to happen. We're setting it up, and then Chow, Leclerc drops the shoulder almost straight into a fucking brick wall. He saves it, and this is a different perspective right now. Is if this same situation happened, but with Lando and Leclerc and the other way around, Lando is getting shit for it. But with Leclerc, it's all, Leclerc, what a save! Wow, it takes great skills to have a save like that, and probably does. But Lando cannot do anything right at the moment. He was like really liked at one point. Now he's like one of the most hated drivers, probably more than Ocon. Because I felt like when I started watching, Ocon was probably the most hated. Now Ocon has a lot of love. He's got a lot of people who like him. I don't get it. I think it's a bit dodgy, but people do, and Lando is not the guy people like at all. So I don't know if he'll ever get that back. Probably not. I think it's weird though, because like Lewis is so universally loved, and even if you hate him because you're a Max guy, at least in this country, and I know he's huge all over the world, but like there's not many English people that don't like Lewis. Like even if you're a Max guy, like I just feel like. Being like, I do not like Lewis. I don't think I've ever met at least an English person who does. But there is probably a bunch of English people who don't like Lando, and maybe that's because Lewis is still here, or there's maybe better British selection for some people who maybe choose to back drivers based on their nationality. I don't know. I don't think that's a thing loads of people do, but at least got a soft spot for them. I don't know. We'll have to really see once maybe Lewis is out of the sport, which touch wood. I'm not hoping this anytime soon. What else we gotta say? By the way, meanwhile, all of this is happening. All of this, reeling in and like, oh, what's happening with Piastri? What's happening with Lando and Charles Leclerc almost dying? There's just this like, but kind of meaningless, but not to them probably, battle between the Ferraris, where. Weird because Russell has apparently the worst car, but is not that catchable in the straights to Hamilton, the superior car. But he eventually does get past, which I was happy about because I'm a Hamilton guy, as we know. So that's just like all of this is happening. It's like a SpongeBob like meanwhile, and we're just seeing like this sort of non-stop battle between. And some good racing going on, and he gets past, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty good stuff. The commentators spoke about it. I agree. Russell doesn't. Russell can shut up because he's wrong. Fastest laps, why are they getting rid of it? It's a good thing. I like it. Yeah, is it the most important thing in the world? No. Is it like usually just a driver? Well, this is what Russell said. It's usually a driver not in the top 10 or someone it's not usually the fastest driver that weekend. I get it. And I get that is true. Usually the person with the fastest lap isn't the fastest driver, and I guess the fastest lap should be for like the fastest driver or whatever, but it's its own thing. Yeah, it's called fastest lap. Maybe it's not for that, but it's always a fun little game at the end. I like the little narratives it can do. In a boring race, it can add some excitement. I like the balls you have to put on the line to be like a Verstappen. You're 30 seconds ahead being like, I'm pitting, give me the softs, I'm also getting the fastest lap. I like that you can do that. I like that's an option. I like that there's an option available for Ricardo to be like, I'm going out on my own fucking terms. You know, and you can like, box, try and take fastest lap. I like the pettiness of taking fastest lap, even if you're not in the points, to help your team or just to be a petty little bitch. I love it. Today, it's just fun. Who's going to get it? Lando's get it. Lando gets it again. Leclerc could box to get it. He does box to get it. Perez could box to get it. Not even to get it for his own team, but just to stop Ferrari getting it. It's just fun. It's a fun time, and it's all for 1 point. Who the fuck cares? Like, who are these like killers of fun who are like, yeah, but it's not the fastest though. But I don't give a fuck if Guan Yu Zhou isn't technically the fastest person that weekend or that Grand Prix. If it's fun for the race, it's 1 fucking point, or stopping someone else getting a point. Why are we getting rid of it? Why are we getting rid of it when the cars are fucking the size of double-decker buses? And I know they're changing that, but like, we don't. Who even asked to get rid of it? No one. I hate when they change shit for no reason. It's like I don't want to. I talk about football too much on this, but like the Champions League, no one fucking asked for that. You're just changing it. It's like when they wanted to bring in like blue cards and like sin bin people and just like, oh, should we just do this? And it's like, and it's like, even when sometimes it's a change that isn't necessarily worse. It's like if everyone just said, oh, should we put our eyebrows under our eyes instead? That would be kind of worse. But like, actually, I don't know if eyebrows actually do anything. Should we just get rid of eyebrows or just put them like under our eyes or just put them like on the back of our heads as already hair there? But you get the point. It's like, sure, okay, fuck, it doesn't actually change anything, but like, fucking hell, why? You know? I don't know why it's bothering me so much, because it just adds so much fun, though. It just adds so much fun to the end of the race. Why can't we have that? Why prevent fun on a technicality? Really? We're stopping fun on the technicality is bullshit, man. What else we got to talk about? Okay. Let's go. Okay, get comfortable in your chairs and get your ears ready, because I might abuse them consensually. May I? Because Sergio Perez, mate. Oh my god. Okay, so Sergio Perez, you know the whole like the man that you are. Whoa, look, wow, pop craves type thing. Paul Mescal stuns in New Gladiator film. Wow, Timothy Chalamet stuns at Timothy Chalamet lookalike competition. Wow, Lando Norris stuns the man that you are on Vogue cover. Wow, Lando Norris, the man that you are. You know how people love saying that. Sergio Perez, the bitch that you are. Oh my god, man. This guy, the audacity, right? The audacity, okay? To be driving as shit as you're driving. To be employed when you have no reason to be there, okay? You should have resigned a long time ago, let alone been let go. It is a joke that you even wear the overalls, okay? You start how you start and you question it based on your form. Even where you started from, great start. No, guys, wasn't a false start. Great start from me. You're P18, lad, and you finished P17, aka last. Everyone else DNF'd, right? And you're on the radio giving it back and forth with the people who can see the replays, saying, "No, Sergio, you're 17 feet outside the box. We're just going to ignore that." You're then getting into squabbles and battles, back and forth, right, with Liam Lawson, the guy coming for your neck, okay? You then hold on to that trauma from the first races, and you laugh when Liam Lawson breaks his front wing later on in the race, okay? Not like you're now flying high, like, you laughed at me. You all laughed at me. Well, you're not laughing now, are you? Because I'm up here and you're down there. No, I'm also down here, but now you're joining me. Wow, big whoop. You're laughing at him. Brilliant. And then what do? You're Billy Big Bollocks. I'm going to put him on the table. I'm at my Mexican Grand Prix. I'm going to go out there. I'm a box and I'm going to get the fastest lap. And you don't. You cross the line. You're dead last behind the guy you're laughing at for breaking his front wing, who's actually ahead, trying to make moves, trying to do something. And you're back there. You're like, I'll get the fastest lap. Not even for me. Just to stop them getting it. That was the lamest shit I've ever seen in my life. That was fucking lame as fuck. That is on par with Ocon being like, tell Magnussen and tell Hulkenberg, tell both Haas cars, we're coming to get them, and then proceeding to not come to get them. It's like that is it's like leaving your arm up or whatever for like a free throw. I don't watch basketball when it just airballing it. It is just like so lame. It's Panenkering it down the middle. The keeper doesn't move. It's like trying to say I'm him. You know, you've not even got the fucking keypad, mate, to type that out. I'm him. Fucking hell. It's dog shit. It's fucking embarrassing. Lawson's driving up past you. Bus wanker. Like, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Read the fucking room. You're stinking up the joint. Like, and he's acting like like he's the man. He's barely a boy at the moment. He looks a shell of himself. He hasn't been half decent in how long? Oh my god. Ha ha ha. Just saw it on the big screen, amused me. Lawson, blah blah blah. That will teach him a thing or two about how to race in this. What are you talking about? You qualified P18, you barely get out of Q1. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I warned you, but this is insanity. It's the same thing. Again and again. Why are we employing him? Why is my voice this high right now? It's just like... Oh man, it's embarrassing. I don't even know what to say. It's just lame. It's just lame. Let's get into the awards. Guess who's getting the soft award? Sergio Perez. Oh my god. This is a weekend, by the way. This is Max Verstappen's weekend from hell. Oh, everything's going wrong. I'm not on pole, like a 20-second time penalty. And you know what he does? He still finishes P6. This weekend would be Sergio Perez masterclass. He drives like shit, gets 20-second penalties, but still manages to get P6. Whoa, Sergio Perez back from the dead. Wow. No. Like, that would be his magnum opus. What Verstappen did. Verstappen's dog shit race weekend, in his eyes, is your magnum fucking opus. You started P18, and you finished P17, and only because 3 cars went out. Yeah. You're getting the soft award. I'm him. I am him. Box me for the fastest lap. I am him. Mate. Couldn't even fucking spell it. Right. Medium award Verstappen. All in all, makes the most of a tricky situation. You know? And I'm sure he misses out probably an extra 5 points. But he made points last weekend. And also made, and that was a weekend of a sprint and a normal race. He's probably laughing. He's probably, 20 seconds. I lost 10 points here, but I'm 40 something ahead. Like, he's winning, guys. Like, the guy, great race realistically, and hard I'm going to give to Norris. Better from pole, we don't know. Or insane to say, but like, the win was almost there for him ultimately, and people say stuff like, "Oh, how should Lando even be getting driver of the day? Like, who did he even overtake? What did he even do?" He can't help the fact that he tries to overtake Max. He's got the pace to, he's got the skill to, but Max says, what? No comprende, puts the phone down on him and, tries to drive him, into next week. He can't do anything about that. He can't do anything about the fact that he is no one can. Lewis can't. That's why he got a tire in his brain. Like, when you're in a title battle with Max, yeah, it's hard to do that shit. He can't help the fact that Max is going to treat him like that. He can't help the fact that when he was about to overtake Max went then pitted. That would have been a little moment. Oh, at least I overtook you on track. Well, I can't because he pitted. Okay. He can't help the fact that I'm setting up myself for an overtake on Leclerc now. Oh, Leclerc almost fucking dies. He can't help that shit. Every single time he was about to do it, they pitted, they almost crashed, or they tried to, crash him. So, I think he drove a great race, started P3, and ultimately he walks out of it with Verstappen in P6 and him in P2. I think he would have been relatively happy if he was in P3. And he got an extra little position for it. And with a few more laps, maybe P1. And no one else really, I'm not going to give it to Sainz. Sainz had like a good weekend, like a really good race, but it's also kind of like a situation, like a positional thing. Like, I feel like if Leclerc happened to have found himself in P1, he also would have just saw the race out and finished in P1 type thing. It's kind of just like one of those kind of races. So I'll give it to Lando for the hard awards. But yeah, I had to get off my chest. Like, usually I'm like, I didn't want to talk about Perez. Perez has a crap weekend. I don't want to talk about him. But this weekend was different because he had a bad weekend, but he was pulling his name up in the headlines still. Like, he was getting verbal. And low key, I actually, like, low key, Perez, if I can be honest for a second, I actually kind of fucking rate it because my biggest complaint about you is that you're boring. You win races and you stumble as you try and look cool on top of the car and pose and stuff, and like you're just not that. Your sound bites aren't that great, and you can be a little bit boring sometimes. I get you're a nice family man, but it's not great entertainment. Like low key, you pissing me off right now actually makes the sport more entertaining, and actually low key fucking rate it. Like I can't even lie. King. But back into rivalry mode. Fuck you, Perez. And yeah, he was getting a lot more verbal now. So like, it just made me be like, okay, no, okay, no. Let's get the boxing gloves on, then, and let's go a fucking couple rounds, 1950s style. We got Brazil next. I believe that how many races have we got left? Actually, I did check beforehand. I still don't know. I think 4. Yeah, 4. I think Brazil used to be the penultimate one. Not when I was watching, but I think people say that. So we got Brazil. And also, by the way, triple header. Because that's next week, I believe. That's 3rd of November. Remember the 3rd of November. That's not going to translate overseas. I didn't know until recently that you guys don't have, like, bonfire night, fireworks day or whatever. Night, probably, they're better at night. In other countries, which should be obvious because the story of bonfire night is very particular to the UK, so why would it be in other countries? I won't bore you with the history, but it's fascinating stuff. And you say, remember the 5th of November, which is why I said, remember the 3rd of November, no one gives a fuck. And yeah, that's at 5. All these races have been evening time, by the way, which is kind of a different change of pace. After that, we got Vegas. I say we as if I'm going. And then Qatar, and then Abu Dhabi. Who knows? We could be going into that race level on points, like the famous Lewis Max season. We can dream. This is Harzan. We got Harzan. We're going to the end. This was the Mexico Grand Prix, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.